benchmarks of how we would like to go through our lives,
You know why she looks so young? Because I give her no stress.
And you know that's a big joke, right? Oh my gosh.
The secrets are going to come out.
Yeah.
You found Hawaii Matters, and I'm your host, Kathy with a K. The humble ukulele. For our guests, Roy and Kathy Sakuma, it was and remains a musical instrument like no other. According to legend, a teenaged Roy Sakuma heard an instrumental song on the radio, and I love that it was on the radio, that inspired him to take up the instrument and learn from one of the world's greatest ukulele masters himself. The Sakumas have steadily grown their love of live ukulele music into the annual Ukulele Music Festival, which celebrated 51 years in 2022. And in 2024, the Roy Sakuma Ukulele Studios turned 50 with 4 locations on Oahu, and Aiea, Mililani, Kaneohe, and Kaimuki.
2022 was the 52nd.
52nd. And this year marks the 20th anniversary of their nonprofit foundation, Ukulele Festival Hawaii.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
20th.
Founded in 2004.
Yeah,
Founded
that's
in
right.
2004.
Yeah.
Yes.
To bring public awareness and interest in the ukulele as an instrument of virtuoso quality, promoting Hawaii's arts and culture through education, scholarships, and the annual free ukulele festivals, which are also on the neighbor islands. I wish I had written that. I copied and pasted from the official website, roysakuma.net. Roy and Kathy Sakuma, welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kathy.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
How
so
has
much.
2024 been so far?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been wonderful because we have an opportunity now. When we ended our Ukulele Festival Hawaii officially in 2022, the 52nd Annual Ukulele Festival Hawaii, it was our wish that now that there would be many ukulele festivals in Hawaii, in our communities, not just once a year, but a lot more active in festivals. And this year, they are going to have an ukulele festival at Kapiolani Park, same place that we had it in July, the same time that we had it. The International Ukulele Festival of Hawaii, the organizers asked us for their help, which is what we want to do.
Yes.
We have so many lessons learned over 52 years that we're happy to help anybody with their event. And so that's what we're doing this year. So it's been a really nice experience, and we get to participate. Our studio students, our ukulele studio students, we get to go as guests for the first time and just go
Yes.
and we're really excited about that.
Yeah, it's wonderful, And after planning it all these years, now we just go there and relax and perform,
And enjoy
Yeah.
the event, yeah.
Will you each be performing and picking up an ukulele? Or are you saying in the very general sense, like we, being Roy Sakuma Ukulele Studio
The
students?
students. We always
Yes.
want to feature the students.
Always showcase
From the very beginning.
the kids, the young kids and our big kids. Our big kids are the senior.
Senior
Adults.
citizens, senior adults. And they all enjoy performing. That's the beauty of it, They come together and everyone enjoys,
Roy Sakuma, of all the songs on the radio, it was Herb Ohta, Ohta-San Sushi that grabbed your attention as a teenager. And soon after, you sought ukulele instruction from him. How were those early lessons, and how did that prepare you to become a teacher soon after?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I had no musical sense, no musical ability. To give you an idea, my sister used to get a pot and a stick, and she used to say, hit the pot and keep the beat to the radio. And I couldn't. I had no sense of rhythm. And that's why I couldn't learn to play the ukulele. But fortunately, when Ohta-San said he would teach me, he didn't tell me, okay, play. He taught me how to read the music, like from piano music, and how to transfer that music to the ukulele. It was perfect for me because I could understand the music, because it's similar to math. And that gave me a start in learning how to play. And the other great thing about my teacher is that he was a former sergeant in the Marines. So he was strong and disciplined. And I needed that because I was such a choleric, such a rascal kid. And so he gave me the discipline that I needed in those early lessons to focus and to really learn how to play the ukulele. So I was very fortunate to have him for a teacher. As time went on, I think I learned from him for 18 months, and he finally told me, Roy, you're going to have to leave. And I said, why? He told me that what took him 5 years to learn, I had learned it in 18 months. So he told me, go on my own and develop my own playing style. And I was so sad. I was so sad to leave him. But fortunately, 6 months later, he called me up and says, you want to come to the studio and help me? I said, sure, what do I have to do? So apparently he started an ukulele class on Saturday mornings, all adults. And all I had to do was tune the adults, and he taught. So it was fine. I tuned the adults. Right after the lesson, he tells me, Roy, I'm going to Japan. You teach. And I was shocked because I don't know how to teach. But I practiced at home speaking to the walls every day for hours because I was so nervous. But by the time I went in front of those adults to teach, I was so comfortable. And when he returned 2 weeks later, he asked me, how did you like it? And I said, I loved it. And then he told me, would you like to teach my students? And I said, yes. And that's how I got my start into teaching. Not only did I learn to play the ukulele from him, but he gave me my start in teaching, and that became my lifelong passion. Teach others how to play the ukulele, especially children.
What is it about instruction that you find inspiring to continue to welcome students of all ages? Because not everybody can teach, but you're able to, create the Roy Sakuma ukulele instruction. Like there's an actual way of unfolding it. Kathy, were you an ukulele player before you met Roy?
No.
What was your journey?
My journey. Well, meeting Roy and then his love for the ukulele, it was unusual. It was kind of like, okay, kind of thing, But that's what he did. Okay. That's what he loved. Eventually, when we got married, then I graduated from the University of Hawaii, and I got my job, my full-time job, and soon after we both realized that we were both going to quit our job so we could devote 100% of our time on teaching. That's how it started. I didn't know anything about the ukulele, and I just went there to help in the beginning days. Tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do, and I can assist you. So Roy was basically a one-man operation at that time. Slowly, kids started coming. And I remember, early on him saying, I've got to figure out a way to pass on this joy of the ukulele to the kids. But there comes a point where they start stopping, because initially it was learning to read musical notation. So Roy devised this brilliant way of changing that musical notation into the alphabets, which is the first thing the children learn, your ABCs. Suddenly, it just opened up everything. You could see the transition we could teach little 5-year-olds to pick Twinkle, Twinkle, because in the 70s, we were strumming, but Roy wanted to teach them Ohta-San style of picking. And I think that was just the beginning, and that's how it just evolved.
That method which he's talking about is, when you take a musical score like from a piano sheet, teaching the children that it's not an easy process to identify the notes and figuring it out. As my wife mentioned, I took those notes, identified it by the letters of the alphabet using capital and lower notes. And then on a manual typewriter, because we didn't have computer back then, I would type out the notes. And now, how can I include the rhythm that you see on a piano sheet? So then I use the dashes for like eighth notes, the equal signs for 16. I use the slashes for strum, the dots for rest. In a matter of no time, I was able to take a musical score from the piano, transfer it to the way that I wanted to teach. And you could put an instructor on a song they never heard and a piano player on a piano sheet music, and they would play it exactly the same in rhythm. And so I had perfected a method that it was so successful that we've never changed. Till this day, We teach that method. We can teach anyone to play the ukulele.
And if anybody listening now claims that they devised it, how very dare you? This is Hawaii Matters. My name's Kathy with a K, and I'm sitting with Roy and Kathy Sakuma, and we're talking about the ukulele music. And ultimately, it's community, mentorship, and volunteering. The two of them have been able to open the minds and hearts of many through ukulele lessons and music, not only through the Ukulele Festival Hawaii, but through just various associations through the seasons. Kathy Sakuma, you had shared about how you discovered the ukulele and about the so-so enthusiasm that your husband has, but it eventually grew within you to also fall in love with the instrument. So many themes with the Sakumas and the ukulele is community and mentorship. Can you each share who were early mentors for each of you that helped shape your approach to creating the Ukulele Festival Hawaii, the Roy Sakuma Ukulele Music Studios, the Ukulele Festival Hawaii Foundation?
Wow, that's a real, everything that we do is because of people who supported us, mentored us, because the ukulele, there was no pre-plan. Prior to that, there was nothing to follow. It was something so new. Teaching ukulele, nobody was teaching ukulele and putting on the festival. In the beginning, the festival was the parents just came out that morning with all the leis, and we didn't even tell them how to decorate the stage. They just came and took over.
Yeah.
In those days, Kapiolani Park, it's not how it is today. It was just a park. So after the 2-hour concert, people would actually just picnic in the park. There weren't food booths, and it was just a really nice family gathering. Kids go to the beach across the street or the Honolulu Zoo on the other side. That's how it all started, and every year it grew, and parents just volunteered. When they renovated the bandstand, this beautiful showcase of a stage and with benches, it just evolved. It just changed everything. Everything got bigger, and we got food booths and everything. But as it evolved, even people would just come out and say, what can we do to help? Mm-hmm. I think it's because ukulele was such a unrecognized instrument, and it wasn't how it is today. Now it's wonderful, the recognition it's getting, but back in those days it was like everybody said, what can we do to help? Sponsors did it, family, friends, and then once they got the bug, they wanted to come back every year and help out.
I had to go back to when I first started the Ukulele Festival. My job was, I was a parkskeeper cleaning the bathrooms in the park. And one day at lunch, I sat there, I looked at the bandstand, and I said, my dream is to put on an ukulele festival. And someone overheard me mumbling, and they said, dreams come true. And it really hit me. And so I went to City Hall, and I said, how can I put on an ukulele festival? So they directed me to Information Office of Complaints, There I met a gentleman named Maroni Medeiros. And when he heard what I wanted to do, I didn't know at that time he was a musician that played the guitar and sang. He was so interested in what I was doing. He says, Roy, I'll help you. With his mentorship, I was able to put on the first annual Ukulele Festival at Kapiolani Park with him guiding me. He even helped to MC. He became truly one of the great mentors of my life. And when Kathy met, we became so close to him because he was such a loving, he had such a beautiful passion for music. That was the first mentor that helped us with the Ukulele Festival. And as the years went by, as Kathy said, as the Ukulele Festival grew, I have to share something. It started off, just a festival. Eventually, it included food booths because it was her idea. If you're going to have all these people come, and now that the festival has been 3-4 hours long, we should have food booths. We put in food booths. Then she sees all these children with the families. They're hanging around, there's music for 4 or 5 hours. She's thinking, what can I do for the children? So then she comes up with this idea. Let's have a coloring booth. and give away ukuleles every hour. Let's have a Lego contest. Eventually, she came up with that. She said, we need more. She puts in a sliding, like a slider for the kids, then a bouncing place where the kids can go inside and bounce that you see at carnivals. And then a second stage where there's music and people can relax under a huge tent. All this was her ideas to me, see. And I'm thinking, oh, can we do this? But it all came to fruition. Her ideas, because her heart was always with the children and the people. What can we do to enhance our event, to bring the joy of families coming together, which was my original desire, to bring children and families together to enjoy the music. So a lot of that credit goes to her for making all these dreams of mine come true. She's been a big inspiration.
Well, the kids were the main
The stars.
of the show from day one. They were like the biggest supporters. They're the ones who just really exuded all that joy of the ukulele and went out there, and people they felt that joy of what the kids, because they're so pure, and it didn't matter how they played. They just played. They loved it. They're going to come out, and then more and more kids started coming out with the families. They said, what can we do for these families? In those days, no local people would come out to Waikiki and drive through the traffic, but they did, So what can we do to make it more worth their while? It ended up being a nice family event where they kind of hung out. They didn't just come to perform. And it was nice for the tourists who were in Waikiki and they kind of happened to stumble upon the event. It was a showcase of the ukulele, but they could be among the local people at the same time. All the ukulele makers came out. Kamaka, Koloha, Kanilea. Everybody came out, yeah.
And one of the things that we really want to thank is, all those sponsors. And over the years, we've had many different corporate sponsors that would take the title sponsorship to help us. It started way back with our friends from Corrine and Dave from
Appliance Parts.
Starbucks helped us. The Sheraton Hotels was a title sponsor. About 10, 12 years ago, I had a meeting with Tony Group Autoplex, and Stan Masamichi said, Roy will help you. And their sponsorship really helped us to continue to maintain our event, because our event is free. Everything is free. There's no admission, nothing. That helped us. Eventually, we were able to, if you can visualize where KCC is, we would rent a big portion of the parking lot, and then we'd hire tour buses, like 3 or 4 of them, and they rotate constantly from Diamond Head to the park continuously. It encouraged everybody to park their cars, jump into those air-conditioned buses, and come to the event. So it really was a huge success in doing that.
It was so big. We couldn't have done it with all the people who supported us.
All the sponsors,
the MCs,
yes.
Danny. Even Kathy, you emceed our food tent for
years.
3
or 4 years.
Which was, people said it was the best kept secret of the event because everybody loved the food tent stage. But everybody there were volunteers in all the booths, the T-shirt, the coloring. They were just all volunteers who came out to enjoy the day.
And I remember one of the hotels said, we have 20 people that want to come and help you. I said, really? Yeah, they just want to come and help, remember? And they would come out and help. Mm-hmm. And once they came and they experienced it, they said, we'll help you every year. And, we had over 100 volunteers that came out from morning to night till the event ending to help out.
Roy Sakuma and Kathy Sakuma. This is Hawaii Matters. My name's Kathy with a K. And Roy Sakuma is about to share a memory, a thought about Danny Kaleikini, who for a few decades was the emcee of the Ukulele Music Festival at Kapiolani Park.
Early on, I told Kathy, we need to get an MC that can really hold the crowd together. And I said, gee, I wish we could get Danny Kaleikini. And she says, well, why don't you call him? Great idea. His show starts at 9 o'clock. 10 to 9, I call the Kahala Hilton. I said, can I have Danny's dressing room? And the person says, oh, Danny's not here. Call back. I call back 5 minutes to 9. Oh, Danny's not here. Call back. I call like 1 minute before 9 when the show starts. Oh, is Danny Kaleikini there? I say, oh, yeah, hold the line. Danny, telephone. Well, I figured I had 1 minute. Danny, my name is Roy Sakuma. I wanted to put on the ukulele. I said, wait, what is this? Brother, take your time. I try to explain a little bit, and he says, come tomorrow morning for breakfast. come to the Kala Hilton. I'm shocked. I'm going to meet Danny Kaleikini, this superstar. So I go there for breakfast. I sit down with him. By the time we finished breakfast, he shook my hand. He said, brother, I'll be your MC. I was floored. Danny, ever since that ukulele festival, he has helped us every single year. What an amazing man. He was always there for us. He has such a legacy in Hawaii, an incredible man. But that story, I will never forget how his heart just reached out to us. You know.
The Ukulele Music Festival was very inclusive. Travelers, tourists, locals. When you're talking about the volunteers, Kathy, it was very purposeful what they had. They had a responsibility. I think that's why people enjoyed volunteering, not only being affiliated with such a great community event in the middle of the summer, taken really good care of, cute volunteer T-shirt, everything, but it's because it felt very intentional how they were being utilized. Their time was maximized while they were there. And it was because when I remember landing at the stage and like seeing you, Kathy Sakuma, and just making sure it's like, you got everything you need. I have great memories.
You know, I have to share something about that because, you know, can you imagine 100 volunteers helping us? Every volunteer had an assignment sheet from the time they come to the time they end, exactly where they're supposed to be and what is their responsibility. So I think that's one of the reasons they kept on coming every year, because they never felt like they're just standing around and what do I do? They always had a purpose. And she did that for every single volunteer. So it made it enjoyable. Every year they say, hey, Roy, we want to come back. We can't wait to come back. So that's the way she wanted to do things. It's just mind-boggling how she kept everyone in the loop of what was happening.
You just heard from Roy Sakuma and also Kathy Sakuma. My name's Kathy with a K. This is Hawaii Matters, talking about mentorship, volunteering, and the ukulele, music, live music, the various entertainers that have been a part of the Ukulele Festival. James Ingram, the popular R&B singer-songwriter, he was a frequent guest and close friends of the Sakumas.
I remember one morning I was walking around University of Cookville, exercising to get ready to play basketball with my friends. And then I saw these two gentlemen lying there. They were all perspiring. And I said hi. And as I walked around again, they were still there. So I started to talk to them. And I said, oh, are you folks football players? And they laughed. They said, oh, no, we're way past that. We just came back from a tour. And I said, oh, what do you do? And James said, oh, I play a little keyboard. And he reaches out his hand and he says, hi, I'm James Ingram. And I reached out my hand and says, hi, I'm Roy Sakuma. I had no idea who he was, you know. But he was so nice with a friend. We really connected. So I invited him to dinner the next night. I think there was 8 of them at that time. He said, sure, call me up at the Sheraton Hotel. That afternoon, the Pro Bowl is in Hawaii. So I'm at home now watching TV, and at halftime, it says, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. James Ingram. And I said, Kathy, that's who I met. And she goes, what? You don't know who he is? You teach all his songs. And I didn't know, because at those days it's on a cassette. And I'm just listening to the songs and writing them out. Anyway, I called him up, and I'll never forget what he told me.
You better call and apologize.
So I call up, and he laughs. He says, Roy, I have to be arrogant if everybody thinks my name and they know me. So he gives the phone to his wife. The wife laughs, and we're going on a dinner cruise. We're going to take them on a dinner cruise. So after I hang up, I got transportation lined up to pick them up, everything. This is where she says, so Roy, what time are you going to go down to meet them at the pier? And I says, I'm not going. She says, what do you mean? I says, now that I know he's this superstar, I don't want to infringe on his time with his family. Let them enjoy the cruise without me. And she says, okay, what happens if they get there and there's a mix-up and they don't get on board the ship? I said, oh boy, I better go down there. So I went, and after everybody went on the boat and he's still talking to me by the ramp, I shake his hand and I said, have a nice time with your family. And he says, where are you going? And I said, I'm going home. Enjoy your family. He puts me in a headlock and he takes me on the cruise with him. And on that cruise, he asked me, so what do you do, Roy? And when I told him about the joy of putting on the Ukulele Festival, he said, I want to come. And that's how it all started. What an amazing person. You know.
He turned to his road manager and he said, make it happen.
Yeah. And they made it happen. He didn't charge us a cent. Because when he found out that all the entertainers, all the years, Kathy, they always donated their time, he said, I'll donate my time. We became the best of friends, you know, with the wives. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, he passed away, you know. He was just a true, one of the very special friends that we've had in our life.
And he has 6 children of his own. Mm-hmm. So he loved the idea of showcasing the kids at the event.
He wrote the song?
He did.
One day, the wife, when they were in Hawaii, they said, James, you wake up, get in the morning, you're going to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, go with Roy, pick him up, take him to the studio. You're going to write a theme song for the festival. And he did it together. He wrote a beautiful song called Come and Join Us at the Ukulele Festival. And he sang it. He had the recording all put up and sent it to us. Mm-hmm. It boggled our mind. And that year it was single of the year, right? On the But that was James. That's what he did.
His wife said, Kathy, don't you have a theme song? I said, theme song? No. You don't have a theme song? No. She did that.
Yeah. So many fun stories.
This is Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K with the Sakumas, Roy and Kathy Sakuma. One person that has really benefited from the teachings of Roy Sakuma Ukulele Studio, gone on worldwide fame, ukulele virtuoso Jake Shimabukuro. What do you remember as a student when he came through? Was he the prodigy, or most students who were just kind of like, yeah, I'm just here to learn?
Yeah, you know, I told her, I said, you know, you never know which one of these hundreds of students is going to just take off. You just don't know. I think, too, we wouldn't know either because we never focused on contests or who's the best. It was like the festival was something every kid had the opportunity to perform. It was their decision.
We would always get called once in a while for our students to compete in a talent contest or to put a talent contest in our ukulele festival. But we always graciously declined because we didn't want a first place winner, a second place. The whole thing about the ukulele was to come together and enjoy the music together. And Jay was one of these students. You know, he was learning from one of our instructors, and again, everything at the studio is arranged by me. So what they're teaching is stuff that I've already arranged for the ukulele. But as Jay got better, he would sit down. I would go to the studio. He would sit in with me and talk to me, and kind of pick my brain, and I would try to help him through things. And he just gobbled everything. You know, he was just one of those very talented kids. By the time he graduated from high school, he had already been with us for 7 years. He had the foundation to move on, and he just blossomed, came up with his own style, which was important. You need to come up with your own style. It was the same advice as my teacher, Ohta-San, gave me. Go out and develop your own style. So my own style eventually led me to be a teacher. But for Jake, he has become a worldwide performer. And he still always comes out when he's in Hawaii to help us. When we call him, you know, like at the festival in July, this month, he's going to play with our students. He's going to jam with our students. We can't ask for anymore. We love Jake and how he always willing to give back and help others.
When he performs with us, you know, Jake is just such a down-to-earth guy, you know, that never changes about him. And when he's on stage and our students are on stage, he'll start playing with the kids as if he's part of, like, he's like one of the students. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference sometimes because he's like a kid too, you know. He just has that joy.
Yes.
Herb Ohta Jr., he's someone that I've seen on the playbill at past festivals. He is the son of Ohta-San, and it's wonderful that the musical legacy continues, and it's never competitive. Those I know that sometimes articles would like to pit those kind of generations against one another, but it's always been complementary.
I'm going to let you talk about her, but I got to share a story first. You talk about Herb Ohta Jr. But when I was dating Kathy, and I loved the ukulele, right? I love my teacher, Ohta-San. I told Kathy, hey, let's go and listen to Ohta-San. He's playing at the hotel. Can we, you want to go? I said, okay. So I want to really, I'm going to take her and introduce her to my teacher, right? I take her to the hotel. It was crowded, but I had reserved a table in the center. And so we sat right in the center so we could watch Ohta-San play. And I'm just can't wait for intermission when he comes and talks to me, and then I introduce my girlfriend, Kathy. So here comes, he's finished his first set, he starts walking up to us, and here I am, I'm just so happy. He doesn't even walk up to me. He walks straight up to her, and he says, what are you doing here? And she goes, oh, I'm with Roy. How's your mom and dad? Oh, they're fine. And he walks away. He didn't even say anything to me. And I look at her and said, what was that all about? And she goes, didn't I tell you that he's my cousin? My gosh. I was speechless. Oh, now you can.
Do you remember that?
I do, but even when we were dating, I didn't realize what an impact, Ohta-San had on him. And I grew up, Ohta-San within the family. So I didn't think of him as, how Roy thought of him. And I think I was too young and I didn't realize that, his nightclubbing and all this, because we never saw it when we were young. We just heard about it in the family. So Herb Ohta Jr. is my cousin. And because we're family, I really admire Herb Jr. because what a difficult thing to have to follow your father's footsteps, especially the master that Ohta-San is. But Roy always said it's amazing how Herb Jr. developed his own style. And Roy always talked about, if you can't copy someone, you got to have your own style, which is what Herb Jr. did, is what Jake did. And so they brought a whole new dimension to the ukulele.
That's great to point out that the ukulele, it can be so much more than what the first impression is, and it continues to be developed and evolving. This is Hawaii Matters. My name's Kathy with a K. We're talking mentorship, the ukulele, and volunteering in Hawaii with the Sakumas, Roy and Kathy Sakuma. You were talking about how, first and foremost, it's about families and children when it comes to the ukulele. What are your impressions now that Roy Sakuma Ukulele Studios celebrating 50 years in 2024? When you look back and consider all the students and the lessons and the evolution of how from one studio, now 4, what is that like? What are the kids like that come through? The lesson plan continues to be the same.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about what's been built so far?
Go ahead.
It's almost like not feeling. It's like it just happened. When 2024 came, we didn't plan that it was the 50th. And it's when it came, we realized, hey, this is our 50th. I think we need to do something. You don't think about those things. It just happens, When we ended our event, the Ukulele Festival Hawaii event, we didn't get to celebrate the 50th because of COVID. That would have been a milestone, huge celebration. We were planning to thank everybody for their participation, the mark that they made in the event. That never happened. By 2022, when COVID was still around, I said, Roy, your dream came true, so we can end the festival, And it's time for, anybody to put on, like the young ones, they can do it. Let them, take over. It's so popular now, which is wonderful.
It's impressive that you did the first year in 1971, that you were just so excited about it. That's just like, let's just do the first annual. I don't know if that was optimism or if it was just like, that's what you call it when you throw something. First annual, they'll come back. We'll meet here next summer kind of thing.
I know that's something that I think you or someone asked me, what made you call it first annual? I said, I don't know, but it was a blessing because now I could build on the first annual and keep on going. And there's so many things that, that we think of after all these years. And like Kathy said, the memories, the stories, all the people that helped us. It's really been a wonderful journey. It was never like work or like, oh God, why we got to do this for him. It was the joy of putting it together. Mm-hmm. It was the joy of bringing families together.
Was that always planned that it would be a family, husband and wife thing that we're going to do together? Was it an automatic partnership from the get for Roy and Kathy Sakuma to be working together?
Always together, but she always wanted to take like the back seat. You go on stage, you do the talking. She'll just stay in the background and do the work, like that. Because she didn't want to be on stage all the time. But I wanted her there. And so when I'm on stage, I would thank her, because without her, we wouldn't be doing this event, because she was like the brains behind it, And over the years, when we finished 52 years, how you have a book plan, so you know what to do the following year. Her book is this thick. That's all what she does every year to make sure everything is organized. It's mind-boggling.
But in the beginning years, I didn't know what the heck the festival was.
You lived,
I just lived through it every year, and then seeing the kids come out, and then seeing it grow, and go, oh, wait a minute, we got to do something about this, It was adapting to the change. Mm-hmm. When you look back now, you think about, I can remember now, it must have been the 1990s when it really shifted. Only when I think back, I can see it, but at the time it's happening, you don't recognize it. You're just doing it. Yeah, it's really different now, which is wonderful. I said, Roy, we get to see the, fruition, to see the ukulele recognized. Mm-hmm. And that was the goal, was to give this tiny little instrument that was considered a toy, and people would kind of like turn away from it, but now people embrace it and love it, and that's the great thing.
This is Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K, talking with Roy and Kathy Sakuma. Do you each teach still at the Roy Sakuma Ukulele Studios?
I still teach. Ever since COVID happened, we had Zoom lessons. Mm-hmm. So I went on Zoom with my students, and now that the COVID has calmed down, I told my students, you can come back to the studio, you have a choice. But for a lot of my students, they're senior citizens or the young one, they love the idea of just learning on Zoom with me. So I teach primarily on Zoom, but then it kind of opened up to people like from China or from the mainland, because now they can come on and take lessons from me like that, But I still go to the studio, like once a week to be there with students, and where she goes to keep contact with the instructors. I just love teaching, and she always tells me, or I tell her, that I can just go on teaching till I cannot teach, because I love it. I just enjoy it, I enjoy teaching, Mm-hmm.
And we have a great staff of instructors, When we gave them the choice of online or in person, they wanted to go back to in person. And so they're, holding up the teaching at the studios. For Roy, it's it's online lessons.
When do you find yourself reaching for the ukulele?
I love to write songs for my students. Generally speaking, the songs that the children or the teachers really enjoy are the songs that I write, because I think when I'm writing, I'm purposely writing, looking at the ukulele, where the notes are going to be, where the harmony is going to be, and that the rhythm of the song is kind of catchy to a child's ear. So it's much easier to learn than something that's totally syncopated and hard to grasp. Every so often, more than once a week, I'll just pick up the ukulele and then I'll start hitting a couple of notes. And a lot of times, once I hit the first two notes and I hear those notes, it's almost like I can keep on playing already, and I can write a song right there, because I can just envision where the melody goes, what the harmony is going to be like. That's the fun thing of writing music, where I'm not thinking. I'm just playing from the heart. It's fun.
If you're not teaching, then you're writing music.
You know, writing music, or like Kathy says, one of the things that especially senior citizens love is the oldies. So I write a lot of oldies.
What are the oldies? Because music from the 1980s and 1990s in 2024 is considered the oldies. From the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s.
Yeah, like at the
or everything pre-2020.
The International Ukulele Festival, we're going to do You Love Me? And then
Yeah.
Jamaica Farewell.
Yeah.
That's like considered an oldie, like tunes that you kind of...
The standards.
Yeah.
But
Those are standards now,
Well,
yeah.
well, actually, the standards are more like from the 30s and 40s, or songs like Misty or I Wish You Love, all those beautiful songs. And that was the era that I really loved the music because the harmonies were so rich. When I say rich, there were a lot of chord movements, which made songs really just brighten, And the music today is good because it's easier for kids to learn. You can play Jamaica Farewell with only 4 chords.
This is Hawaii Matters. I'm here with Roy and Kathy Sakuma. My name's Kathy with a K. What else do you have planned for the ukulele, its players, and music in the world?
I just want to help people who are going to continue to promote ukulele, like advise and share what we know about it. I feel that's, at this time, at this stage in our life, that's where we can best help the ukulele community. Because there's a lot of young people now moving forward with ukulele, which is wonderful. If they have any questions or advice, we can offer that, yeah.
I think you answered that really well.
What superpowers, and now it's getting even more casual, what superpowers did all of these projects and events unlock in each of you? Discovered that you had no idea you had the reservoir for?
Well, for me personally, in the 1980s, I would be invited to schools to demonstrate the ukulele, and I'd go on stage and play for the kids 2, 3, 4, 5 songs, and just have a happy time with the kids in schools. One year, I was teaching a 3rd grade teacher, and she said, "Can you come to my school and play for the kids?" I said, "Sure." I went to the school, and I played 1 or 2 songs, and I played the song that I wrote. And that opened the door for kids to start raising their hand and ask questions. I didn't play the ukulele the rest of that time because I was answering their questions. Well, then I left. I said, okay, that was fun. About a week later, I come home and my wife says, "Roy, read these letters." It was letters from that 3rd grade class thanking me for visiting their classroom. In the past, all the letters were like, "Thank you for playing the ukulele." But these letters were specifically talking about, "Thank you for sharing da-da-da-da-da," and it helped us to understand our feelings. The letters were so powerful that Wayne Harada, the advertiser, picked up those letters and did a full-length article on them. This was way back. That opened the door for teachers and principals to call me and say, "We'd like you to come to the school and speak about what these letters are talking about." So it opened a whole new world for me, which I love, was going to schools and helping children through their struggles. And I still do this because it's getting difficult for kids. And so the talk helps them to understand that they can let go a lot of the things that they're holding in them. And the song that I end with, and I sang for those 3rd graders, was a song called "I Am What I Am."
I was just thinking about that song this week, and I started getting emotional remembering the lyrics and its simplicity, yet it's very constant. No matter what age, it's like,
Yes.
kudos, hat tip.
And just the chorus line, it's very simple. It's, "I am what I am, I'll be what I'll be. Look, can't you see that it's me, all of me? I am what I am, I'll be what I am." And for those of you that are really interested in the song, it is on iTunes, "I Am What I Am." It's on our website too, I think, yeah. When you look at the lyrics, like you said, it really, we're all okay, we're special, but many times we don't think like that, So I enjoy going to the schools and helping kids.
Oh, I don't know superpowers. I'm just really happy to see where the ukulele is now. I'm happy to see all the young people coming up and promoting the ukulele and taking it to, even bigger horizons. So for me, that's really exciting to see.
If I may share one more thing, I'm not trying to toot my horn, but because of all these talks, I was contacted by the FBI in 2014 to help them because there was a lot of kids they were trying to help, and they were prone to not completing what the FBI was helping them with. So can you come and be one of our speakers? So in 2014, I would go, and once a year, I would speak to about 125 kids. In 2017, they surprised me. They actually flew me and my wife. We were flown to Washington, D.C. to receive an award from the FBI director, James Comey. And the award was because 45% of the kids they were trying to help would drop out. But when I went there to help them speak, they said that the graduation rate went to 98%. The person that was working with me said that what you were saying in your talk had helped them move out the things that they were dwelling on, which was not really a part of their life. Now they could focus on the positive things. And that's what it's all about. That's why I have this passion to keep on helping people, especially children.
Roy Sakuma, Kathy Sakuma, this is Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K. Speaking about that talk with the FBI, is that available anywhere on the internet?
It was not recorded, but there are some things on that talks a little about my life and how I got through it. When I was dating her, I never knew what the word love was. And eventually, because of my upbringing, I had a really rough upbringing. And she was actually the first girl that after I started dating her, I really felt this has to be love. And so about 18 months after dating, I asked her if she'd marry me, and she said yes. And I was so happy. And for the first time in my life that I can remember, I went home, and I didn't sleep uncomfortable because I would shake. I would have this shaking bed syndrome because once in my life, my brother came with a knife at me. And so I was always afraid of that. Well, when I woke up in the morning, I started to tear. And I knew I had to tell her to leave me. That was the hardest thing for me to do. So we met, and then I started sharing with her everything in my life that was going wrong, all the things that was, the things that made me feel ugly, made me feel terrible. And I told her to leave me and find a person that can make you happy, because I had a lot in me. And when I was all finished, done talking to her, the first words out of her mouth, and I'll never forget what she told me. She said, I never saw it as your weaknesses. I see it as your strengths. She didn't want to leave me. She said, I'll help you. We can make it work. And what happened, Kathy, was amazing. As the weeks and days went by, all that junk that was in me, it left. It just left me. It no longer even concerned me, bothered me. It's like it was gone. And it almost changed my whole life. Then love started to enter. And it was all because of her love for me. This is the story I share in school to kids, and how many of them then go home to find someone they trust that they can share and release that. Yeah. All they had to hear was it from someone who actually lived through it. It was a blessing in my life, because had I not told her that, I would probably still have a lot of, moments of not sure of what to do.
Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K, sitting with Roy and Kathy Sakuma. And that's a true testament of trust and communication and really being able to see another human being. In my mind, it's like the late 1960s, early 1970s, and that's not air quote typical conversation. And again, I keep citing 2024, where it is more openly discussed, talking about talk to somebody, be concerned about your mental health, keep hydrated. But 50 plus years ago, the two of you finding each other, that's really wonderful. So Kathy Sakuma, I'm curious, was your own upbringing something where compassion and love and having talks at the dinner table were pretty open? Or is that because you were a university girl, you were a college girl?
No, I don't know what it was. It's strange to even think back about it, but I think knowing that, I'm not a perfect person myself, so it was okay, and it felt safe too, and Roy was so open. I think I do recall, I said, I do know one thing, and I share this even with my nieces as they grew up. I said, if you know the person that you're with has a good heart, that's what's going to carry you through. That's all you need. Because all that other stuff, our personalities and, that's there. But deep down, what's in your heart, that's what matters.
That's what she told me. I asked her one time, about 20 years ago, I said, what really made you stay with me after I told you all that? And she paused for a second and she said, I saw your heart. And I never forgot that too, when she said that. Yeah, she has such a beautiful heart, how she listens and receives things, yeah. Mm.
So this begs the question, how did the two of you meet? Because Kathy Sakuma, not a big fan of the ukulele like me now, but ukulele was like, I understand what that is, but
Yeah.
Okay.
so Roy Sakuma, how did the meet cute happen?
I had a temporary job at Ho'opono, Rehabilitation for the Blind, by Kuakinia. And I was working with the ladies, and one of the ladies introduced us. It was, what do you call that? Like a luncheon. Let's go have it. And this, one of the workers was on the same bowling team, the city and county bowling team as Roy.
And so, and she had a cold, so she was constantly sniffling. So I ended up just talking to my friend, not to her, but eventually my friend kept on bugging me, call her on the phone. So I finally kind of talked and asked her out, and I'll tell you, this is the first time I asked her out on a date. I says, okay, so after small talk, Harlem Globetrotters right now, the basketball team. Would you like to go out Friday night to see the Harlem Globetrotters? And she told me, oh, I'm sorry, I have a date.
I'm busy.
No, she said I have a date. So then I said, would you like to go out Saturday night? Oh, I'm busy. I'm sorry. I'm going to be out with my girlfriend. Okay, any guy would hang up the phone, right? But I have gone through so much struggles and pain. I said, okay, well, how about going out Sunday night? And she said, okay. And I'm thinking, after we went out and things, as the time went on, I said, thank goodness for the Harlem Globetrotters. They played all 3 nights. So that's the story.
Just so good. I was wanting to ask about it, but I thought we won't naturally get there. This is Hawaii Matters. I'm Kathy with a K with Roy and Kathy Sakuma. You can go to roysakuma.net for information about taking ukulele lessons, finding out other events. Who are the people that maybe you want to acknowledge through the years, or maybe you want to thank over and over again?
First of all, I'd like to thank all the sponsors. Many of the sponsors, in fact, most of them were all friends, people that just wanted to help us. And they helped us every year because they believed in what we were doing. It was the heart that we had for others. Right? So many people, like Stan Masamitsu from Tony Group Auto Players, Mike Irish from Hom's Kimchi, and Dwight Otani from Otani Produce, Robin Yoshimura. All these people, and Charlie Ching, my dear friend, who put us all together to help. Mm-hmm. And then the list goes on with your friend, but you have a great group of friends.
Can't even name, but just personal friends, just friends from all aspects of our life. They all came in to pitch in, and our staff of instructors, I always thought our staff of instructors coming every year to the festival, they were like the unsung heroes.
Oh, yes.
Because they organized, they helped set up everything. And break down everything at the end, and they organized hundreds of kids. They did all the behind the scenes work, and these are young kids who are like as young as 13, and they were like teenagers and college age students, but our staff of instructors were huge.
And a lot of them, after they left the company because they got married and had children of their own, they still come out every year to help us. Every year they're there helping us at the festival. One helped us until she was in her 60s. That's the type of relationships we had with all our employees. When they left us, it still was there to continue to help us through all these years. And even this year, when we were going to the festival, we needed help from not just our staff. So many of our former instructors, they're all coming out to help. It's such a blessing.
I think it's a real testament to the ukulele, Hawaii's beloved instrument, that this little tiny instrument can bring people together. Like our mission was laughter, love, and hope. That's what that tiny little instrument brings to people of Hawaii and the world.
I love how it comes back to the ukulele. It always goes back to the ukulele. How many ukulele do you have in your quiver? I'm sure people gift you ukulele. I mean, do you know how many are in storage or that are personally yours?
No idea.
And do you have a preferred ukulele that is the one that you always use?
I have a lot of ukuleles, but I don't know how many. But I can say this without getting too identical. Idea. The ukulele that I love the best to play with, even if I go on a trip, I take her ukulele, the ukulele that was made for her.
It's so funny. I don't think it matters what ukulele he picks up. I don't know why, but yeah, where everybody's like, you'll be happy with any ukulele, Roy.
But I always take yours. I always take hers and play with hers, She says, how come you don't take the ones that people made for you? I said, well, I like to take your ukulele, and you're always with me.
It brings up an interesting story. I remember one day we were teaching at the studio in Aiea. Saturday morning, all the young kids are there, and then Ohta-San walks in. Okay. And so he walks in, I can't remember why, and then he just grabbed one of the kids, the least expensive ukulele, and he played it. And when I heard him play that, I had the most valuable lesson. It doesn't matter what ukulele it is. It's the person playing it.
Yeah. That was like a $15 ukulele, and he can make it sound like, wow.
It was
You put a ukulele
eye-opening.
in the hands of a master, and that's true. Any ukulele, you can make it sound good. Yeah.
But that's just a story. But there are awesome, great ukuleles out there, yeah. It's gone beyond the way they make it now. It's just beyond what you can even fathom.
Thank you to our guests, Roy and Kathy Sakuma. For more on their various events and projects, please visit online, roysakuma.net. And to replay and share this episode, search Hawaii Matters on most podcast platforms. For Pacific Media Group, I'm Kathy with a K. Mahalo.